Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Roxanne Murphy, Chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee, here to convene the committee. I am joined by my fellow committee members, which are Pinky Vargas and Jack Weiss, right? It's been a while since we convened this one. But we're happy to be here because we're presenting two very exciting agenda items. At least I think they're quite exciting. The first is a Whatcom Creek Bridge Replacement Bid Award. So we had some significant damage to our wonderful Whatcom Creek Bridge due to a fire, and a lot of community members have been asking me, and I'm sure my fellow council members, about what the plan is to replace or fix this bridge. And so our staff has gotten a bid from a contractor to do the replacement of this bridge. And I need people to understand this is such an important connection between our various neighborhoods and the downtown. Personally, I live in Sunnyland and can't wait for this bridge to be back in place as a direct conduit to our downtown and out to our neighborhoods. So James King is here to offer more information about this bridge replacement. Take it away, James.
Just wanted to, since these people work for me, I wanted to take an opportunity to thank James and Ted for coming up with a solution for the funding. As we know, that was quite a big discussion, and I think that the two projects that they're bringing forward today are both, from the Parks Department, are both long-standing projects that have reached a really good resolution in one case and partial resolution in the other case. So James and Ted and their staff are to be commended.
Thank you, Mayor. So, as you said, it is exciting to see this coming forward. Construction is due for July. We have three quick pictures. This is a picture of how it looks today. 27 creosote pilings in the creek and along the edge of the creek. The project will remove all of those completely, which is a great thing. The fire caused some damage, but also the structure of the beams have rotted over time, so there isn't any way to save it. So we're getting rid of the whole thing. So Gina, if you want to show the next one. So that's what it's going to look like, that style of bridge. Good long-term maintenance on those styles of bridges. And then the last thing I wanted to show was an alignment. When we looked at this, you can see on the lower part of this picture where it says existing bridge to be removed, and the new bridge is moved up towards the top a little bit more. There had been some complaints that that bridge was out of sight. When you looked down the trail, you couldn't see it, so it became somewhat of a gathering area. So we've moved it as much as we could to align it so that you'll be able to see all the way through. A car, a police officer possibly could look at one end and see all the way through. We couldn't get it perfectly straight because of the trail that comes in right there where Gina's pointing and the way the grades work, but we were able to get it straight enough that we could see through there. So that's a good improvement as well. So the low bid was Faber Construction, $338,480.91. Work to commence this summer, start in July, and will be done by the end of the year. So we're excited to have this going forward.
Committee members, any questions? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to award the bid for the Whatcom Creek Bridge replacement.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say no. Yes, Councilman.
Thanks. I'm not on the committee, but I just had a question about this project. If you could, I'm sorry, throw back up the that plan view of the site. My question is about the width of the walking surface. It looks like the new bridge is narrower, and we've found on some of our pathways, if you make them too narrow, bicyclists and walkers feel uncomfortable passing each other. Is it much narrower, or compared, say, to the Meador Bridge?
So it is narrower than it was. We had a lot of debate about this. We started out with looking at an 8-foot wide bridge and decided that was too narrow for the volume of traffic that goes across there. So if I'm correct, the top is going to be 10 feet wide was where we settled. And I think the old one, do you remember how wide it was?
12 to 14 feet, I believe. It was the old structure.
It was a little bit bigger, and we decided that was in excess of what was needed for that volume of traffic that goes across there. that 10 feet was wide enough for bicyclists to be able to comfortably pass if they were to do that in the middle.
Did you cost out a 12-foot?
We did, and it was significantly more expensive.
I guess I think it's too narrow, not enough for me to vote against the project, but I do think wider would be a lot better. Because bicycles are going 10 miles an hour. I mean, there's definitely a kind of a psychological friction. Maybe after tomorrow or the next day, you could tell me how much that cost increment might be.
Okay.
That'd be nice.
Councilmember Weiss?
Have that information come tonight,
You want me to tell you?
James, what was the engineering estimate on this bridge? I mean, because we ended up budgeting 500. Just wondering what the estimate was.
The engineering estimate was a little higher. Gina, do you remember that off the top of your
I
head?
don't remember off the top of my head, but the budget that we have for design and construction and contingency is within the budget that we established for the project. It's within like about 5%, so we have a little bit of contingency in there too.
Okay. So the bid amount then doesn't include the engineering costs?
No.
So it's actually, okay.
Right.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
And it looks like if all goes well, there will be a little left over.
Okay, the next agenda item is a bid award for the Cordata Neighborhood Park Phase 3 Meadow and Loop Trail. So I just want people to understand, we also get significant input about improving parks in the northern part of our city. So that's why this is also an exciting presentation. So staff has been able to gain a bid to improve this trail. And James, please take it away.
Okay, so again, another exciting movement forward. It's been a long time coming and doing more improvement to the Cordata Park. There's trail up there now. This is some improvements to that, and I'm going to let Gina Austin, who's the project manager for that, give you a little update on it.
Again, I'm Gina Austin. I'm a project engineer with the City of Bellingham Parks Department, and I'll go through this presentation. It's a short one. Give some background about Cordata Park and what we've done there and what we're doing there now. So this is the park site. This is Cordata Park. It's 20 acres, this parcel and this parcel together. And we're showing this map just to show our greenway and property purchases in this north end of town. This property here was given to us from the county, and I think it's about 7 acres. We recently acquired this property to the south, and we're working on easements and properties to connect a north trail this way. So you can see how the green is slowly starting to connect to Cordata Park. And then in our Park and Rec open space plan, you can see the future facilities and future trail alignments in this area. So this is what we've done to date. We purchased the property in 2007. We completed a master plan through a public process in 2008. We annexed the property into the city limits also in 2008. And then in 2010, we built about 2,700, 2,800 lineal feet of trail in the park, in Cordata Park, that runs north-south, goes from Horton Road to the north, and then connects to Cordata Parkway. In Phase 2, 2011, we constructed a trail that connected to this first phase trail and headed north to Meadowbrook, which is up where the Birchwood Church is located. And then now we're doing this Phase 3 project, which is a clearing for an open meadow, and I'll show you what that looks like for the master plan, and construction of a loop trail in the park. So there's that Cordata Park property blown up in showing our master plan. Our master plan, when we developed it, we focused a lot of the development near the roadway, near the arterial, still with enough of a buffer between Horton Road, which is down here, and Cordata runs this way. So we've got that development where all our utility hookups and everything will happen towards the road. We have parking, and this is all future work. This is just the master plan to show how this all fits together. Playground, so this is your typical neighborhood park. Here's the meadow area, and I'll show how this ties all together. So this graphic on this side is a topographic survey of the site. So gray and yellow are wetlands, and then all these little lines are contours. The red is the north-south trail that we built for Phase 1, and then Phase 2 is this trail going to Cordata. This green area is the meadow clearing that we're doing with this bid. So this bid award is this meadow clearing, and it's bound by this black dashed line. And you can see that that is the general shape of what we included in the master plan. And then this red dashed line is the trail that we are building with this bid award. And this is how it overlays with the master plan. So the master plan is kind of a high-level planning effort for the park site, and this is the reality. And what's cool about these two is they're really close. So we purchased this property, we did the master plan, and now we're building it, and everything is just kind of fitting in together. Another thing that we're doing as part of this bid, as part of the meadow clearing, is we are grading the site for future plan for stormwater for the rest of the site development. So while we're not ready to develop the neighborhood park now because of Horton Road and getting that developed, we're planning for it by grading the site and planning our future stormwater utilities, which mostly are going to consist of dispersion and other low-impact design. And something that's also exciting about this site, which we wanted to mention today, is we are beginning work on the connection to the south, so to Cordata's school. So we have this property and ownership and then an easement down here. So we're starting the design and planning process for this work, and then again building this trail and the meadow clearing with this bid award. And that's it, if you have any questions.
Committee members, any questions?
I just had a comment. I just think that this will make a lot of our constituents very happy that we're doing work in the north, so thank you.
Second. Councilmember Weiss.
Yeah, I want to congratulate you guys on doing this. It's definitely a long time coming, and I appreciate the work that's going on. I know that the neighborhood's very frustrated with the work on West Horton. I know that that's moving forward, and hopefully we'll get resolution within the next couple of years of that, and we can actually open it up to the full public use. So good work. Move approval of the award.
Okay, we have a motion to move approval. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Councilmember Lillquist.
I do have a question with regard to this project. One of the beauties of this site is significant wetlands, which are quite pretty, but I was involved in that, as a citizen, that planning process. And the idea was to try to get just enough access to the wetlands so people might appreciate them, but not so close to affect the water quality. My question is, is the grading equipment going to get into this site? Because there's no way to get into the middle of the site without crossing a wetland, it seems to me, at some point or another. And that'll be the challenge later on when a trail is put in. And then when this place is cleared and it'll be dirt and then it'll be seeded, I guess, with grass, won't it then be, at least temporarily, a great source of potential runoff? And again, I'm worried about those wetlands. I want them to be maintained in pristine status until the park, all the way through the park being built. So can you comment on how the threats and risks to the wetlands will be protected during this construction phase and at the beginning?
Sure. For the first question about construction access, the contractor is going to be coming in off of Horton Road and going to be utilizing the existing trail. And then when they get to this, so they're going to take this route here. And then when they get to the creek, they'll be responsible for building a temporary bridge. So they won't be using the existing pedestrian bridge. It's not rated for construction equipment. Then when they get into the site, our stormwater design for this area, so it's all non-pollution generating surface. And with our engineers, we worked with modeling this so that we don't actually rob the wetlands of their hydrology. So they've graded the site so that the water can continue to feed those wetlands, and then it's coming on off of the non-pollution generating site. As far as protection during construction, we'll have our usual BMPs, so we'll do all of our erosion control and sediment control, silt fences, and the wetland boundaries and buffers need to be marked off by the contractor to make sure that they don't get in there or destroy any of the wetlands. When they come back and remove this temporary bridge, we will be responsible for planting as part of this project to mitigate for just the temporary impacts. So they're not allowed to drive, obviously, in the creek, and they have to stay outside of the ordinary high water mark. So that's the protections that'll be in place for the existing wetlands. This area here is the creek, and this is the buffer for the creek. So all of the work is actually happening outside, not only outside of the wetland, but outside of the buffer for this project.
How big is that buffer in this case?
This buffer, I believe, is 150 feet to the creek, and then there's various buffers for each of these wetlands. So the wetland edge is here, and the buffer edge is here. So this line is actually the buffer edge of all the wetlands and the creek on site.
Any other questions? Sorry, Councilmember Weiss.
Gina, what's the finish on this particular round of work? What's going to be the finished look on the meadow? Is it going to be like a meadow that looks like Little Squalicum Creek Park, or is
Right.
it will?
It'll be
Okay.
a rough mow meadow, right?
Okay, versus a lawn itself. Okay, and the neighborhood's aware of that?
They are, and it's, when we come in here and clear and grade, we will make it smooth, but I should mention, it's not going to be like turf for a ball field, but it is going to be like a meadow mixed grass, but mowing it, impromptu games of soccer and things like that will be suitable for this site.
Okay.
Anything further? Seeing none. So both of these bids will be brought forward at tonight's council meeting with unanimous support, and that concludes this committee. Thank you.